Hello everybody and welcome to another episode from the Board Game Man. My name is Jamie Cloninger. Today we're going to go to a classic game that has been around forever. And just today as I was looking through the instructions, I actually found out a couple things that I didn't even know was one of the rules. This is a game that I played as a kid and only knew a couple of the rules, but once I started digging in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about these couple other rules, and it makes it so much cooler. It's called Parcheesi. Yes! This is a special gold edition, and it looks like it says copyright 1959, so it looks like it's a 1959 version of this game. So let's go to the gamer's table, and I can show you the real way to play Parcheesi. Hello everybody and welcome to the Gamer's Table. Here is the board for Parcheesi, at least in this version. There's many different versions of Parcheesi out there and they all look different. This is pretty much how it looks, but there are some that are just totally different than what you see here. This is the lid to the box. The instructions are actually inside the lid, which is nice. Very nice indeed. And this is actually a special gold edition, I guess. So it's actually pretty nice. So let me show you how this the components here. Now this, usually in Parcheesi, they're little circles that are usually in there where you just kind of move them around. This actually came with some really nice pawns, and when I opened it I was like, oh wow. So here are the pawns that the game actually came with, and it actually comes with 8 dice. So it actually came with 2 dice for each player, which I thought was really nice. Each player has their own cup to roll the dice out of. But you do have these pawns that, they came with the game. So I thought these are pretty cool. 4 different colors, and it was complete, and I was very happy to find that. So there you go. There's not much to the Parcheesi game. Not too many fancy components or anything like that. So let's go ahead and take out one of these. I'm going to need 2 dice. I'm going to take 2 dice out of here. I don't need all 8. And we'll just take out the blue and green because these are the 2 colors that are together. So we'll go ahead and take these. Each player has 4 pawns. We're going to put this to the side. Okay. Each player is going to choose a corner that they want to start their game off with. And we'll put green over here right next to me here. And we'll put the blues diagonally from me. So we'll put the blues in here. And there we go. And 2 dice, and we got the cup. Actually, I won't even use the cup. But at least the 4 cups are in there, so you know that they're in there. Okay, now the object of the game is, what you're trying to do here is get all 4 of your pawns outside of the starting area, make your way all the way around back over here into your home space. The first person that does all 4 at their home space wins the game. Seems simple enough. And I remember playing this game when I was a kid. But there's a couple rules in here that I didn't even know existed, which makes it a lot more fun. I mean, I knew that you have to roll a 5 to get a pawn out. I did know that. And I did know, about the, if you land in another person's square, you bump them back to the starting circle. I knew that. But there's a couple other things that are in here that I did not know about. But in case you've never played the game, I want to start by the basics. The first thing you got to do to get one of your players out of the starting circle into the playing field is to either roll a 5 or you can roll a combination of 5. So, for instance, if I roll here, I rolled a 6 and a 2, that's not going to hack it. Okay, that's not going to work. I roll again, doubles would be good, but unfortunately I don't have any pawns out, but I'll just discuss doubles in a second. Now there's a roll here, 5 and a 1. So I rolled a 5 on 1 die. That allows me to bring out one of my players out to the playing field. Then I still have the 1, so I can move it, 1 space. And that's how you do that, okay? So every time you roll a 5 or a combination of 5, you can bring a player out. If you roll a double 5, say I rolled a double 5, you can bring 2 of your players out at the same time. And there you have it. Of course, there's no spaces you move because the 5 and 5 would take care of those 2 players there. So you wouldn't have any forward movement. But if you do roll double 5s and you still have players in here, then you got it. Now, if say you had 1 player left in there, say you have a couple players out here, and you rolled a double 5, then you would bring one of your players out for one of the 5s and then move one of the other players 5 spaces. And that's how that works. Okay? So for this instance, I rolled a 5 and a 1. So I bring out 1 and I go 1 space. Okay, that's how that works. So now green will come out. Green will go, and green now rolls a 4 and a 1. That totals a 5. So green can bring out one of their players. That's how you do that. Okay? Now, here we go with blue. Blue rolls a 3 and a 1, so I have to move all 4 spaces for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, because I have no other players out. You can break up the dice. So say I had another player here. I rolled a 3 and a 1. I can go, I'm going to move this one 1. I'm going to move this one 3. You can do that as well. Okay, you can break up the dice like that. That you can do. Green will roll. Green rolls a 6 and a 2. He has no other players out. There's no 5, so he'd have to move this player the entire 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you'll see on the board, you'll see these blue spaces with circles. These are safe. They're called safety points is the official word for them. So if you have one of your players on this, if I land on the same space as you on a safety space, I cannot bump you out. Now if you're on a normal space, and I'm here and I roll a 3, 1, 2, 3, what would happen on a normal space is I would bump you back to the starting circle, and I would be rewarded 20 spaces. This is not something I knew before. So then you'd be able, now you cannot break up the 20. It's only either one of the tokens that you have on the board. That one token, whatever you choose, moves the 20 spaces. So in this case, I just go, okay, I'll do a 1, 2, 3. Now you can say the 20s right there. I don't know. I won't count them all. So that's how that works. If you knock a player back to the starting circle, then you move any one of your pawns, except for these. Obviously, if they're in the home space or the starting circle, you can't. Any of them that are on the playing field, you move one of them the entire 20 spaces. Okay? Now, say you have all 4 of your players out in the field. You have none of them in the starting circle. And then you roll. I was trying to roll a double on sight there, but it didn't work. So say you roll double 6s. When you roll a double and all of your players are out in the field, you get to move this amount and the amount that's under the dice. So say you have a double 6, you have a double 1, that's 14. So you get to move 14 spaces, so it doesn't really matter how you move them, as long as you do the 14 spaces. That works with any double. So say you do 4 and a 4, that's 8. On the other side, it's double 3. That is also 14. So any doubles that you roll, it's automatically going to be 14 spaces. You do, snake eyes, you got the double 6s. That's 14. If you do double 3s, guess what's on the other side? Double 4, that's still 14. So that's an easy way. Just think of it as being 14 spaces. So you roll a double. There's nobody in your starting circle. You're going to move one. You move as many as you want, really. 14 spaces, however you want to move them. Okay. If you roll a second double, you do the same thing. If you don't have anybody in here, then you get to move 14 spaces again. But if you roll a double a third time in a row, dun dun dun, the token that's closest to home goes back into the starting circle. So you cannot roll 3 doubles in a row. That will kill you. But the first 2 doubles, that's great. You can maneuver quite a bit of real estate on that. But if you roll a third one in a row, one of them goes back into the starting circle. And it's always the one that's closest to the finish, the home space. It's always the one closest to that. Okay? So that's how that works. If you have 2 players on the same spot, that is a blockade. So say this green is coming up here. Nobody can pass the blockade. So if you have 2 there and say he rolls a 7, if he can't move 7 spaces, then he can't move that token at all because you got a blockade here. Now that happens for yourself as well. So say this was me and I rolled a 6 or whatever. I can't move past my blockade as well. So I have to be very careful about that as well. So that's you got to be very careful. You can block an opponent from coming out. I mean, if say this is the area that the green comes out of, I have a blockade here. They can't come out. I can do that. But if I have one of my players on their space that they have to come out on, and say they rolled a 5, they can boot me out of there and put me back here, and then move the 20 spaces they're rewarded for booting me back. That the only safety points that are allowed to kick you out is if you're in one of the opponent's areas that they come out on. Okay, so if I have one here and they roll the 5, they come out on their, this is where they need to come out, and I'm there by myself. If I don't have a blockade there, I get kicked back to the starting circle, and they get rewarded the 20 spaces. So very interesting. I think it makes the game a lot more fun. A lot of you probably already knew that already. I didn't. I did know about the 5 come out and laying and landing on the same spot and bringing them back. I knew that, but I did not know about the doubles. And I didn't know about the 20 spaces either. So I mean, this game is how old? And I just now learned about it. So I saw this in my collection. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to break out a really old classic game. And I was blown away that I still learned something from it. So, but anyway, my friends, that's how it works. The first player to get all 4 of their playing pieces out, makes it all the way around to the board, gets into their home space, which you have to go by an exact count. So when you're coming up, now obviously no one can bump you out of here, and obviously no one, green's not going to care about going up there because their home space is over here. So, but you have to go in by exact count. So if you come up here, you need to roll at least, a 5 will get you in there right away. Let's say you're here and you roll a 4 and a 6. Well, you can still move 4, so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move another, if you have another token, 6. And if there's no other tokens to move, then you just forfeit that other die. You just move what you can, and then you just got to wait for a 1 to get in there. And the first player to get all 4 of their pieces into the home space wins the game.